Hi, this is Joel Persinger. I'm the gun guy. Thank you very much for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. I got a great one for you today because a buddy of mine lent me this Arisaka Type 99. He had had it in his garage for decades, and I don't know that he's ever shot it. I think he got it from his dad, and he's my age. So at this point, he's really interested in taking it out and shooting it. So I borrowed it. It took me a while to find the ammo because the ammo's a little hard to find, and it's a little pricey, but that's okay. It's a great gun to shoot. They are terrific guns. They're among the strongest bolt actions made during the time they were made, although they've gotten a bad rap in a lot of areas. They made about 3.5 million of them. I mean, it's just a ton of these that were produced. Now, many of them were destroyed at the end of the war, and most of them that you'll see do not have the little chrysanthemum mark on the top of the receiver. That actually was an indicator of the ownership of the Japanese emperor, and as the story goes, that was removed either by agreement with the U.S. as part of the surrender or by individual soldiers in order to preserve the honor of the emperor. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the story, and that's why many of these don't have that chrysanthemum on it. If you actually find that thing intact, they're worth quite a bit more money. Now, there were a number of versions of these made. They made a long rifle, a short rifle, they made a paratrooper type rifle that had, I think, a little collapsible kind of adjustable folding stock thing on it or something. They also made a sniper rifle. Some of these you'll find with the monopod still attached. It's like a wire monopod that comes down, kind of folds down off the rifle. This one obviously doesn't have one. And then some of them have the anti-aircraft sights. Now, the anti-aircraft sights get a laugh a lot, and people think that they're funny, but the truth is, when they were first designed, they were put there because the Japanese were fighting the Chinese, and the Chinese didn't have a lot of fast aircraft. Most of their aircraft were dated. They were slow, like old biplanes that were used for observation, and more than that, they really weren't used for anything. And they were low flying. So the idea was that a Japanese soldier, along with his buddies, could use this sight to estimate how fast the plane was going, take a shot at it, and maybe if they used volley fire, they might actually hit the plane once or twice. So that was the general idea. As the war went on with the United States, obviously those were discontinued. They were one extra thing to build, and they didn't need one extra thing to build. They were too busy trying to get the rifles out the door. You can find some of these rifles chambered in .30-06 and .308. I've not run into any, but I've read about them. I think those were probably rechambered for civilian use or maybe for after the war use somewhere else. The bolt is pretty cool on these. It is a Mauser style bolt, but it's got a really unusual safety design, which is really neat. It's not something we normally see. It's this round piece on the back of the bolt that you can push forward with your thumb or your palm and turn, and now the gun is on safe. And then you can push it forward with your thumb or your palm and turn it, and the gun is now on fire. So that's the safety design, which is really kind of cool. Other than that, the bolt comes out like many bolts you've seen before. You pull on the lever and slide the bolt out. It's really easy and simple to clean. So the rifles are really, really strong. They're very, very accurate, as you can see from the target that I was shooting. Honestly, it did pretty well. Now, the sights are set at about 300 yards. So I was shooting at the center mass, and you can see it shot high, and that makes sense. When I was shooting more at the belly button area, you can see that the group was really, really good. So honestly, for an old surplus rifle at 100 yards with iron sights, that's pretty good shooting, if you ask me. These old rifles are very good. Now, the Type 99 is considered one of the strongest rifles built during the war, and there's a few things that it has that the other rifles didn't. For example, it's the first production military rifle to have a chrome-lined bore. That's pretty cool. They're very strong with a fully supported chamber. So you can, I mean, they'll take a lot of pressure. People try to blow these things up and destroy them and put them through torture tests, and they'll take an awful lot of pressure and keep on ticking, which is pretty darn cool. It is equipped with one extra little thing with the sight that I like. The sight folds up so that you can shoot farther distances if you want for volley fire or whatever. That's pretty common in the World War II type rifles. What I think is neat about this, though, is when you fold up the sight, let's say you're a Japanese soldier and you're trying to take that long shot, and suddenly you get surprised with somebody up close, there actually is a little notch in the sight at the bottom that is, again, roughly set at about 300 yards. So it's a rough combat sight. You don't have to flip your sight back down to get on target. You can just swing the rifle around or wherever you got to go and get it on target pretty quickly. So that was kind of cool, I thought, too. 5-round stripper clips is the way they used to feed these. They are made extremely well. They have, in my mind, taken a beating over the years, in part because of the last-ditch versions of the rifle. Those were the ones that were made at the last part of the war where they just pumped them out of the factory so fast they weren't made very well. But if you get one of these that was made earlier, they're a really, really good rifle. They're a lot of fun to shoot. This one doesn't have everything on it. It doesn't have the bolt cover, which came with it, but they kind of rattled and made noise apparently, so the Japanese soldiers took them off and discarded them. So you'll find that sometimes those things are missing, and some of the other things are missing. So it's a shooter, probably not much of a collector's gun, but boy, it is a lot of fun to go out and take to the range and shoot, and it's a great piece of history. The other thing I want to mention about these is that if you really think about it, these things are 75 years old plus in many cases, and yet they run really well. They're very accurate. They're fun to shoot. They function just like a brand new rifle in a lot of respects. And I look at these things, and you know, I review products all the time and shoot new rifles and new guns all the time, and I got to tell you, there's a lot of guns being made today that people really, really like, that 75 years from now, if they're treated the way these have been treated for the last 75 years, will be dust. And that's a really great testimony to the pride of manufacturing and the manufacturing design and skill of those folks back then when they didn't have CNC machining and they didn't have all this fancy stuff we got now. They just had to know what the heck they were doing. They were craftsmen of a sort. These old guns really reflect that. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful week. Please, if you haven't already, join the National Rifle Association. They need all the help that they can get, particularly now, because now that we have a gun-friendly president and a gun-friendly Congress, and a lot of states are very gun-friendly, unfortunately not mine, but a lot of the other ones are, people are getting kind of lazy about it and deciding, oh, I don't need to join. Look, now is the time to go on the offensive. We need to make sure that federally and in these states where gun rights are strong, and in states like ours where we can actually go after them and perhaps recover some of our rights in states like California, then let's go do it while we have a gun-friendly president, a gun-friendly Congress, and hopefully now, at least marginally anyway, a gun-friendly Supreme Court. Now is the time to go on the offense, because I've lived long enough to tell you that that won't always be gun-friendly. We will have an anti-gun Congress and anti-gun president. I mean, it's going to swing the other way. So we have to establish as much of a beachhead, if you will, get my rifle, as we possibly can now. So please join the NRA. They need your help. You can do it with a link that we've got in the description, and it will save you a little bit of money. You can join the NRA for less than the cost of a box of ammunition for a year, and it will help a lot. Also, if you haven't already checked out insurance for your home defense use of a firearm or concealed carry, I want you to check out, please, Second Call Defense. It's the company I use for that purpose. They're outstanding, and when I stack them up against the other companies, I started using them and I started talking about them all over the place. Since that time, after about 2 years, they decided to help us out with the channel as well. So now what's really cool about it is not only can you get some great home defense and concealed carry insurance that will help you, but also it helps the channel as well. It helps us here at GunGuy TV. So please check out Second Call Defense. Once again, have a great week. Thank you for watching. Please be safe.